In this video, I want to briefly talk about a module called Dependable. Now, what is Dependable? Dependable is an NPM module. Now, Dependable is a minimalistic injection framework for JavaScript. Now, what this means is it allows us to create dependencies from our modules. Instead of us to always require our modules all the time, wherever we want to use them in our project, we just register those modules as dependencies, then make use of an instance of each of those modules that we register. So this dependency module allows for the creation of modules that can be passed as dependencies instead of requiring them. So all the modules that we are likely to use several times in our application, instead of us to always require them in every file where we want to make use of them, we register them as dependencies using this dependable module, then use an instance of that module that we create. So we're just going to see how this works. So instead of having something like this, you installed Lodash, Mongoose, Moment, Async. Instead of you to always require them in every file where you want to make use of them, you create const underscore require Lodash. You do this every time in every file. You could just install the dependable module. So you install the dependable module, then require the dependable module. You could do this inside a file. Maybe you could call it config.js or container.js. So inside that container.js, you require the dependable module. Then the next thing is you have to create a new container, as it is called, by calling dependable.container. So you create a new container by calling this dependable.container function from the module. Now the next thing you have to do is to add your own modules. You add modules by, first, you could do it several ways, but since we are going to make use of several modules, not just one module, we're going to create an array. You could give the array any name you want. So I'll create an array. Then inside this array, then I'll create other arrays that will contain the modules that we have installed. So inside this array, the first array at index 0, we have another array with called Lodash, and its value that will be used is called underscore. Then the next one is Mongoose. This part here, you could give it any name you want, but this other part, that is the value at index 0, must be the name of the module you installed. Then here, Moment, this is just like an instance of it. Then this is the module itself. Then also Async, an instance of the module, then the module itself. So we've created an array here. Then inside this array, we have other arrays that contains an instance of the module and the name of the module. So after creating this, the next thing that we can do is to register these modules. Now remember, we've created, we've called this dependable.container by creating this new container value here. So we need to register these modules we've created. Now, since this is an array, what we need to do is we need to loop through this array by using a for each loop. Then we are going to require for each of these modules. Then how do we do that? We create a for each loop. So my modules.forEach. Then we use the container.register. This comes from the dependable module. So we say container.register. Then we take the value at index 0. So if we go back, this is the values at index 0. This is the values at index 0 for each module. So we take each of this module, then we return the required value of the module at index 1. This is just how you make use of them. So by calling this container.register, we're going to get the values at index 0. Then we return the required value or the function at index 1 by requiring it. Instead of us to have const underscore equals to require Lodash, const mongoose equals to require mongoose. So it's going to loop through the array that we've created, then register the value at index 0. So it will take the value at index 0 and return the required value at index 1. Then after requiring the modules that we've created, then we need to register the container. So we register the container by calling this method container.register. Then we add the name of the container we created. If you go back here, you can see the container we created here is called container. You could call it any other name you want. So we're calling container. So you require it, then you return the container. So this is just how you create or add the modules as dependencies using the dependable module. Now this will save us from a lot of things. So we will not have to require the modules every time we want to make use of them. So by adding this, then adding this file or exporting this file, that we can call it inside the server.js file. Then from there we can make use of every module that we register. So in the next video, we are going to create and add our first modules and see how we can make use of those modules.